recording, please? Awesome. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the fire weather briefing here. Today is Monday, August 18th, 2025. You got myself, Harrison, here from WFO Seattle, and I'm also joined by Stephen from WFO Spokane. So just a quick reminder here before we continue. This meeting is being recorded. By joining and participating in the session, consent is being given to the recording. Please keep cameras off per the NOAA Privacy Act statement. So go ahead and take a look at satellite here. We do have upper level low position just offshore with the trough and quite a bit of onshore flow, bringing some marine air into the west side this morning. And you see some clouds on the east side too. That is related to some convection moving through this morning across the region. So a quick look at radar. Again, like I said, just a few showers going through the west side this morning. Most of the activity is located in eastern Washington with a weak front that went through this morning. There is some lightning strikes with this activity, and the showers and thunderstorms are expected to move out of the area after about 2 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So just we'll continue to see some activity with that through the next few hours or so. Here's the lightning strikes within the past 24 hours. So most of the strikes were within fire zones 707, 706, and 708, with most of those being 707. You can see kind of just a concentration around the Moses Lake area with that line going through. Otherwise, again, there may be a few additional lightning strikes with that complex moving through eastern Washington this morning. Here's precipitation within the past 24 hours. Most of that precip has fallen on the west side with, our shower activity that moved through within the past 24 hours or so, and we continue to see a few showers. Pretty light amounts overall, just a few hundreds to maybe a tenth in some spots, and only it looks like a couple of hundreds made it within the east side, and we'll see too if they get a little bit more precip with activity moving through here. So here's a fire weather summary for the week. For Western Washington, we don't see any impacts with the onshore pattern. We start to get a ridge pattern move through around Thursday through Saturday, and that will start to maybe elevate things a little bit for us with warmer and drier conditions, especially in the Cascades with relative humidities. Pass over you, Stephen, talk about the east side and northern Idaho.
Yeah, thank you, Harrison. Just for the immediate short term, as you mentioned, we do have the showers and thunderstorms passing through. The latest activity in the past hour, the lightning activity has started to decrease, but an isolated lightning strike here or there cannot be ruled out, at least through the rest of the morning. So 15% chance into eastern Washington, even less of a chance as you go into North Idaho. The rest of the work week looks fairly quiet. There is a weak disturbance with that low that you showed on the satellite there, pushing across southern British Columbia. That will pick up the winds a little bit for Wednesday across eastern Washington, locally breezy in North Idaho. But relative humidities look to remain above critical levels or won't be breezy enough to meet criteria for critical weather, fire weather conditions. And then the same for us over the weekends. We will be getting fairly hot and very dry with that front coming through midweek. We get quite a bit drier air into us. So just expect that, and could be elevated fire weather conditions as we go through the weekend. Should we go to the next slide? Okay, and I'll talk a little bit about this. This is the cluster analysis that we've shown here and there in the past. And this is looking at the middle of next week. So this is 7 or a little bit more than 7 days from now. So it's a bit far out there in the extended. But I just wanted to show that there is quite a variability in what is going to happen with this ridge that builds in over the weekend. So in that first scenario, as we go into the middle of next week, that ridge remains in place. So that is a remaining warm and dry type of scenario. And that composes about 30% of the members. And then the next two, which are fairly tied with around 25% of the members, is another, the second scenario with a low kind of developing offshore, which puts us in a more moist southwesterly flow or southerly to southwesterly flow. And that could be a pattern where we get a bit more moisture and lightning into the area. After fields would be more receptive. So something to watch out for. And then the third scenario with a passing trough would be more of a cooler and a better chance for some showers and some breezy conditions. And then the fourth scenario, which is still 20%, a weaker kind of trough coming in, but the ridge really flattened out over that Four Corners area. So I just wanted to show that that there is quite a bit of variability, that summer is going to be returning this weekend, and we'll have to just see how that's going to kind of play out for next week with the different solutions that we're looking at. That's all I got.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. We'll go ahead and take a look at the weather here. So for today, again, cooler on the west side here. You've got mid-70s, and then still a little bit warmer here on the east side, a few upper 80s to maybe low 90s, and a couple spots. The relative humidities, quite a bit drier here. Stephen, anything to add with relative humidities on the east side?
Just really quick that they are coming back to what we would expect for August. I mean, we were pretty moist here after that rain that we got, 2 or 3 days ago. And then you can see that they're starting to back down into the 20s.
Gotcha. And then here's a one, and then kind of looks like the same thing. You got a little bit of one there on the east side.
Yeah, a little breezy. Looks like mostly up the Okanagan Valley there, where we could see some gusts up to around 20 miles per hour today.
Gotcha. And then we'll jump over to day 3. And
yeah. Oh.
Go ahead. Yep. No worries.
Okay. Yeah, I can talk to these. So, yeah, the temperatures will be fairly similar. Let's go ahead and go to the minimum relative humidities, because you'll see that they start to dry out, and we are getting more into the low 20s and even into the upper teens for some areas here in the basin. And if you look at the winds, not considerably windy. You know, if you look at the sustained wind speeds there on the left-hand side, we're looking at somewhere in the 10 to 12 mile per hour range. A bit breezier like we see in the Kittitas Valley and through the Columbia Gorge there, and wind gusts getting up to around 15 to 18 miles per hour for much of the basin, but they'll be switching more out of the west, whereas right now we're seeing them more out of the south to southwest, so a little bit of a change in the wind direction for Wednesday. And then the last one, just to take a look at Saturday, which I think is the day 6. And this, I wanted to just point out the temperatures are going to get quite a bit warmer, at least here on the east side, where we're going to be getting back up into the upper 90s, even getting to near 100 for the basin and a lot of our valleys there. And then the relative humidities, the minimums, just to show that they are going to be getting quite a bit drier. And with that, with the hot temperatures, the drier conditions, we'll be seeing the fuels starting to get above the 90th percentile for dryness levels as we get into the weekend. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephen. I'll also add too for the west side that we start to get kind of warm and dry starting around Thursday here. So some of those Cascades RHs will also start to get a little bit dry for us too, going into the Thursday, Saturday period, as well as the temperatures being a little bit on the warm side too. I believe kind of starting here back on Friday. So a few upper 80s and then approaching 90 towards the south here. That looks to be our warmest day right now for the west side is on Friday. And then also a little bit warm here on Thursday as well as Saturday here. And then let's go to the trends, and I believe I want to show Marble Mount for, the west side here. So again, just showing here the trends of the temperatures, again, starting to warm up. Going into the Thursday, Friday, and the Saturday timeframe, and also potentially lingering a little bit into Sunday, will be quite a bit warm, and then we'll see those temperatures again, a lot of upper 80s to potentially low 90s going to that time frame. The relative humidities will also start to dry out around the same time too, especially going into the weekend. Quite a few RHs might dip below 30% or so, give or take. And then the winds, again, might be just a little breezy in some spots going into that time period, but otherwise pretty light overall. And then sky coverage, again, we'll see quite a bit of an erosion of the sky coverage going towards the end of the week with that upper ridge pattern. So we'll have kind of the marine pushes the next few mornings, but otherwise we'll lose that quite a bit going into the weekend and into next week. And let's hop over to the east side here. And let's see here. I'm looking for that's Plum. And is that? Yep, got it. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Harrison. Just a couple of things to point out, and that is getting a bit breezy in the afternoon as we go through Wednesday, and then you'll notice the winds there become quite a bit lighter as we start to get that ridge building in, and then also the temperatures are going to be getting quite a bit warmer, as I've already mentioned, and the relative is getting drier as we get into the weekend. And then we'll go ahead and shift over to the next site there, Maggie Peak in Idaho. There we go. And so this one we do see, and of course this is a higher elevation ROS site. So those exposed ridges will see more wind on Wednesday with that passing shortwave or that passing weather system there on Wednesday. So you can see a bit more of a peak there in the wind gusts. And similar trends, of course, not as hot there for that higher elevation ROS for the temperatures, and the relative humidities trending warmer and drier. And that's it. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephen. And just a quick look here, the 8 to 14 day precipitation temperature outlook. So we have quite a bit of an above average chance for above average temperatures going into the next week, as well as precipitation. Just to take a look here at the outlook here next couple weeks or so. Otherwise, that's all we've got. So fire weather info is available at your convenience here. You can scan that QR code to access all the fire dashboard information, as well as this call as well. So we'll go ahead and end the recording here.